Today we're going to talk about simple time compared to compound time. Up until this point, all the pieces you've played have been in simple time in your lessons. And simple time means that you divide your basic beat, which is a quarter note, into two equal parts. And then those can be divided into two, etc. So in simple time, the basic beat is a quarter note, and these are the time signatures that we see in simple time. So 2/4 means there are two beats in every bar, and each bar is a quarter note. Each beat is a quarter note. We can divide that beat into two so that we get 4 eighth notes. 3/4 means we have 3 beats per bar, and each of those gets divided into two. 4/4 means there are 4 beats in every bar, and each beat gets divided into two as well. So the new time signature that we're going to see is in compound time, and that time signature is 6/8. So compound time means that the beat gets divided into 3 equal parts. So if we divide a quarter note into 2 parts, we get 2 eighth notes. Well, in compound time, we want 3 eighth notes. And we know that normally a dotted quarter note is a quarter note plus an eighth note. So that really is 3 eighth notes. So in compound time, our basic beat is actually a dotted quarter note that then gets divided into 3 eighth notes. Those eighth notes can also be subdivided into 16th notes like that. So if we look at the time signatures that you'll see in compound time, if you want to have 2 beats in every bar, then you'll call it 6/8. We call it 8. We have to count the eighth notes in the bar because we don't have a number that would represent a dotted quarter note. Here, the 4 on the bottom is like a quarter note, right? So it would be like 2 times a quarter note, right? But over here in compound time, we don't have any number that can represent a dotted quarter note. So instead, we're going to count the eighth notes. So we call this time signature 6/8 notes because there are 6 eighth notes when you subdivide your basic beat into eighth notes. So these two time signatures correspond to each other because they both have 2 beats per bar. In 2/4, we divide our beat into 2 equal parts, and in 6/8, we divide our beat into 3 equal parts. Next, we have 3 beats per bar. In simple time, you have 3/4, so we have 3 quarter notes per bar. Each gets divided into 2 eighth notes. In compound time, we would call it 9/8. So our basic beat is a dotted quarter note, and when we subdivide that dotted quarter note into 3 equal parts, we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 eighth notes. So we call that 9/8. So these are examples of 3 beats per bar. This one's in simple time and we subdivide by 2. This one's in compound time and we subdivide by 3. Last of all, we have 4 beats per bar. In simple time, 4 beats per bar is 4/4 time, which we're super familiar with. In compound time, it's 12/8. There are 4 dotted quarter notes in every bar, but each one gets divided by 3, giving us 12 eighth notes. So the challenging thing about compound time is being able to subdivide your beat into 3 equal parts. That's not always easy to do. 2 equal parts is fairly straightforward because when we clap, we can see our hands closed and open. But in compound time, it's just a little bit more challenging. So we're going to do a compound time warm-up to introduce you to what it sounds like when we subdivide our beat into 3 equal parts. So you can see here that I have my claps where I'm going to clap. And in 6/8 time, I have 2 beats in every bar. 1, 2, 1, 2. And I forgot to mention before that when you want to hold one long note that takes up the whole measure in 6/8 time, we use a dotted half note because that's a dotted quarter note and a dotted quarter note. Together they make 6/8 notes, and you can fit 6/8 notes into a dotted half note. So this note will take up the whole measure. Then these each are 1 beat each, and then here we're going to start subdividing. So I'm going to clap for you lines 1, 2, and 3 so that you can hear what they sound like. So I'll count to 2 first. 1, 2. Ta, 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 ta. So the challenging thing is, how do I make sure that my 3 eighth notes are equal? At first, if you want, you can use a word like strawberry, 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 because usually when we say strawberry, each syllable is the same length. And then you can translate that to ta 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 ta. So now I will show you the next rhythm. So if I pretend that these are all the same note and I slur these 2 notes together, when I clap it, I'm going to say ta ha ta ta ha ta ta ha ta ta ha ta. And then if I pretend that it's a tie, I won't say the ha. Ta 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 ta. And so I'm going to clap that for you, and then I want you to see that when we tie together 2 eighth notes, we get a quarter note. So this becomes this, and this becomes this. And this is a rhythm that we see all the time in compound time, dotted quarter followed by an eighth. So what I'll do now is I'll clap all the way down. I'll start at the top and go down. So 1, 2, 1, 2. Ta. I'm sorry, I was clapping the piano player's way. I'm going to start that again. 1, 1, 2, 1, 2. Ta 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 ha ta ta ha ta ta ha ta ta ha ta. Now I'll do that line again, but I'll slur them together like a tie. Ta 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 ta. And then the following line, ta 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 ta. So I'm going to give you this sheet that we've just worked on, and I would like you to review it and then practice clapping the first 3 lines in compound time. You can try the lines 4 and 5 as well if that explanation was clear. Otherwise, we'll go over it in your next lesson. Now let's clap some longer rhythms in compound time. So I'll start by clapping number 1. Da 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 da. Pause the video and do it yourself. Number 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. Da 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 da. Number 3. 1, 2, 1, 2. Da 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 da. Number 4. 1, 2, 1, 2. Da 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 da. And number 5. 1, 2, 1, 2. Da ha da da ha da 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 da. And that'll be it for this week. So now we're going to look at something that you can actually play on your flute this week. So I'm going to start by clapping line 1. 1, 2, 1, 2. Ta 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 ta. Ta 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 ta. Now pause the video and clap it yourself. Okay, now I'm going to play it for you. Put the metronome on, so here you can hear the basic beat. 1, 2, 1, 2. If you had trouble subdividing the beat into 3 equal parts, you could always say strawberry, 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 strawberry before you start. Okay, so now we've played that line. Now we're going to skip down. I actually like to go down to line 3 now because it's a little bit more straightforward. So here we have just eighth notes, and then at the end we have our dotted half note, which gets 2 beats. here and here. So I'm going to play this for you. I don't think you need to clap it necessarily because it's all eighth notes, but I want you to hear what it sounds like. 1, 2, 1, 2. So then you can pause the video and try that yourself. Now we'll move on to line 2. In line 2, they are trying to show you what it sounds like when we have a quarter note followed by an eighth note, when that's the way that we subdivide our beat. So 1 quarter note and 1 eighth note. So remember in the clapping exercise how we did a tied note, which equals a quarter note. And then it was easy for us to hear what the rhythm sounds like. So here we're going to clap this to start with, and I'll say ha for my tied note. 1, 2, 1, 2. Da 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 ha ta da ha ta da 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 da. Pause the video and try it yourself. Now I will play it for you. 1, 2, 1, 2. And I just want to make sure that it's really clear that these two measures are going to sound exactly the same, because a tied eighth note, if it's the same note, equals a quarter note. It's just a little easier to see the subdivisions when it's written as a tied eighth note.